Could you comment a little bit about the fall from grace? And you touch on this in your book. Can you help us understand that with this new perspective, this new dispensation that Yogananda talked about? You also mention these great grand cycles of time coming from an age of enlightenment down into matter consciousness, and now we're ascending back into an age of energy. But how does that all play into some of these Christian dogmas, the fall from grace, and so on?
Well, that's a big topic, of course. I think I'll start with a supposition or proposition that to that which a Christian calls sin, a self-realizationist or a Hindu or a Buddhist even would call karma. And the fall from grace, again, to particularize it and personalize it and avoid for the moment, the whole thing with Adam and Eve. I love to talk about that, but it's a big topic, is the simple fact that we fall, you and I fall from grace all the time. Every time we forget God, practicing the presence of God, being mindful of the divinity within us and in all around us, which is a life of prayer without words, but with feeling and awareness. We fall from that, the grace of that divine connection all the time. And in the history of the human body and the history of an individual life, quite apart from things like reincarnation, which plays a big role in all of this, is the fact that when we achieve puberty and our awakening of our sexual energies come, the ego is just really given a boost and a power. And it's as if in puberty, virtually every human has to grapple with who am I, right? And what does the world offer, and what do I want from the world? Never mind God. How many people have gone through a childhood where they were raised, let's say, in a spiritual family, in a religious context, right? And maybe as a child, less so to nowadays, I admit, but in former times and in my generation, certainly, you might have had a wonderful experience of going to church, perhaps, or doing prayers at your bedside. And then you wake up as a teenager and it's all, it's gone. How many people, and I include myself, how many people I have met said that in their early adulthood, they experimented with lots of things, they did lots of things, and then at some point later, sometimes very much later, sometimes not right away, they came back to the purpose of their life. They came back to asking the big questions. They came back to wanting to lead an authentic life and a life of integrity. Isn't that a pretty typical life cycle for millions of people? Well, that in itself is something I feel the average person can better relate to than Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is a powerful story, but it's my story. It's your story. Whether or not there was any Adam and Eve, we could talk about that, but it's less important than the fact that we fall from the grace of our divine connection all the time. And most people aren't even interested. But the fall from grace, for those who are asking the question, those who do try, we very much know what that's all about. We don't need an Adam and Eve story to tell us that we need help.